Radhe Krishna, welcome to all the divine souls, devotees of Lord Shri Krishna, for yet another divine evening in the presence of Lord Shri Krishna. Today is going to be a special day with Rukmini Kalyanam in the Harikatha series, the Harikatha Saptaha Malika that we are having from Vijayashri School of Harikatha. And today we're going to have yet another Sishya from Vijayashri School of Harikatha, Kumari Tarunya, who is going to present us Rukmini Kalyanam, which is a very important aspect of the Jivatma joining the Paramatma Shri Krishna. Due to some technical difficulties, we have changed the platform from the usual Zoom webinar to this platform. So I welcome you all on behalf of Adhyatma Yoga, Advaita Academy, and Vijayashri School of Harikatha and all the collaborating partners. Kumari Tarunya Swaminathan is a student of Vijayashri School of Harikatha and has been having this training from Srimati Vishakha Hari. She was introduced to Carnatic music at a very young age by Sri Kannan. She underwent further training under Kalaimamani, Srirangam Ranganathan, and Srimati Jyotirmayi and Srimati Vijaya as well. She is currently under the tutelage of Puduvai Kalaimamani Dr. V. V.S. Balamurali, and also guided by Vidwan B. Umashankar. Tarunya is an engineering graduate and currently works for an IT company. She has received numerous awards and prizes in many singing competitions. And we are glad to have Kumari Tarunya to be with us on this occasion of the Global Festival of Divinity in Humanity to speak and to sing on the traditional form of Harikatha on Rukmini Kalyanam. Here we also have Rukmini and Krishna ready for the wedding. And today the next talk is going to be on Sri Krishna in Sri Ramakrishna. So Ramakrishna Paramahamsa is also ready to witness the Rukmini Kalyanam. With this introduction, I welcome Kumari Tarunya. Radhe Krishna.
Radhe Krishna.
Yes, Tarunya, we are all eager to hear you. I welcome all the participants who have joined us. Radhe Krishna.
नमो नमः सद्गुरुभ्यः सद्गुरुभ्यो नमो नमः नमो नमः सद्गुरुभ्यः सद्गुरुभ्यो नमो नमः हरे रामेति कृष्णेति नाम संकीर्तनं सदा लोकक्षेमाय कुर्वन्तं प्रेमिकं सद्गुरुं भजे प्रेमिकं सद्गुरुं भजे प्रेमिकं सद्गुरुं भजे कल्याण गोपालं करुणालवालं कल्याण गोपालं करुणालवालं कल्याण गोपालं करुणालवालं कल्याण गोपालं करुणालवालं मायालङ्कृतमीढे मदन गोपालं कल्याण गोपालं करुणालवालं मायालङ्कृतमीढे मदन गोपालं कल्याण गोपालं अमर नारी गीतम् आगम विदितम् अमर नारी गीतम् आगम विदितम् अमर नारी गीतम् आगम विदितम् अमित भाग्योपेतम् आश्रयेऽनन्तम् अमित भाग्योपेतम् आश्रयेऽनन्तम् कल्याण गोपालं करुणालवालं मायालङ्कृतमीढे मदन गोपालं कल्याण गोपालम् मुरली सरल गानं मुनि बृन्दादीनं मुरली सरल गानं मुनि बृन्दादीनं शरणागत पालनं शरदिन्दुवदनं शरणागत पालनं शरदिन्दुवदनं भावति मीर घन भानु भक्त कामधेनु भावति मीर घन भानु Bhakta Kamadevu Shivanarayana Tirtha Shigra Varadanam Shivanarayana Tirtha Shigra Varadanam Kalyana Gopalam Karunalavalam Maya Lankrita Meedhe Madana Gopalam Kalyana Gopalam. With the blessings of Srimati Vishakha Harimanni, my Harikatha Guru, and with the blessings of all my Sangeeta Gurus, I have been granted the privilege to recite Rukmini Kalyanam on this auspicious day. Let us all drench ourselves in the Shravanananda of Rukmini Kalyanam. Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says, Arjuna, there is no discrimination between who can be my devotee and who cannot. Irrespective of a person's birth, his religion or gender, his economic background or education or social background, health or wealth, irrespective of all these factors, each and every being has the right to be my devotee and offer their true prayers to me. And as a proof of this, we have thousands of devotees, both in the Puranic and the historic period of India. For example, we have Kabir Dasa, who, in spite of belonging to a different religion, was a great devotee of Rama. We have Mirabai. Her entire royal family was against her devotion to Krishna, but she never stopped singing the glories of Krishna. Similarly, we see Prahlada, who was an Asura by birth. His own father posed a number of obstacles in his way to Lord Vishnu. But still, this small boy never stopped chanting the names of Sriman Narayana. Similarly, Bhagavatam introduces us to another Asura. His name is Vritrasura. This Vritra was a powerful and a ferocious Asura, seeing whom all the Devas were baffled. They all ran to Lord Vishnu and they are pleading him to tell them a way to kill Vritrasura. But this Vritra was a great devotee. Shri Anna says, his heart was just like that of a gopi. And he says, Vajayata paksha iva mataram khagaha Stanyam yada vatsataraha kshudhataha Priyam priyeva Priyam priyeva vyoshitam vishayena Manoravindaksha Aravindaksha 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 Didrikshate Tvam. Hey Aravindalochana, hey lotus-eyed Vishnu, I'm like this small bird which hasn't even developed wings to fly along with its mother. I'm like the small calf which is tied to the cowshed. It is not able to untie itself, relieve itself from that bonding and run away to its mother. Similarly, I don't have the capacity to fly until you. I don't have the capacity to relieve myself of all the material bondings of this world. So it is you who has to come to me, shower your grace upon me, and accept me as your devotee and make me serve you all my life. Priyam Priyeva Vyushitam Vishanna. Just like a lady who is so in love with her husband and he has gone for a very distant place, she's not able to bear this separation and she's forgetting to even eat or sleep. And in that state, she's not able to think of anything else other than him. Vritra says, hey Krishna, I'm not able to think of anything else just like this lady. My eyes are throbbing just to drink the divine form of you. This is not the statement of a gopi, but an asura. Clearly, he is expressing his devotion in the form of Madhurya Bhava, which is also known as the Nayika Bhava, where the devotee forgets his or her own form and assumes himself or herself to be a gopi who is madly in love with Krishna. Vritrasura was so fierce, and even he is expressing this Madhurya Bhava in his devotion. So, if an Asura can express this Madhurya Bhava and reach Krishna's feet, if an Asura can express this Nayika Bhava in his devotion, then it is very obvious that the Lokanayika, Mahalakshmi, who incarnated in the exact same period of Krishna, would be interested in marrying him and serving him for all her life. So Parikshit is asking Sukha, "Hey Sukha Brahman, please tell me the story of how Krishna married Rukmini by Rakshasa Vidhana." Sukha starts, "Rajasi Bhishma ko nama Vidarbhadipatirmahan tasya pancha bhavan putraha kanyika cha varanana Rukmyagrajo Rukmarato Rukmabakuranantaraha Rukmakesho Rukmamali Rukminyesha Swasasati." Parikshit, there was a king called Bhishmaka. He was the ruler of Vidarbha Desha. And this king was a Mahan, says Sukha. Why is a Brahmajnani, a Mahatma like Sukha, calling this Bhishmaka a Mahan? What was his speciality? Our Guru gives a very beautiful explanation here. Bhishmaka was a Mahan not because he had so much wealth. It was either not because of his kingship. He was the king of Vidarbha Desha, but that was not the reason that he was a Mahan. He had 6 children, but still that was not the reason for calling Bhishmaka a Mahan. So what made him a Mahan was the entire world, each and every one of us is craving for the faint glance, for the kataksha of one lady who is the daughter of Kshirabdhi, who sits on the 1,000-petaled lotus. Pankajamalar valarannaye kadai kanpar Pankajamalar valarannaye kadai kanpar Ramadasan vanangidum Lakshmi Jaganmata Manamirangi Varamarul Mahalakshmi Jaganmata Manamirangi Varamarul Mahalakshmi Jaganmata, the mother of this entire universe, Jagannatha Mahalakshmi. That Mahalakshmi incarnated as a small baby in this Bhishmaka's house, and she is calling him her father. A person with such a great bhagya, why would he not be a Mahan? As we told earlier, Bhishmaka had 6 children, the eldest being Rukmi, followed by Rukmarata, Rukmabahu, Rukmamali, and Rukmakesha. And the last one was our Rukmini. Right from her childhood, she was a very charming and a talented princess. Bhishmaka, being a great devotee, used to organize a number of satsangas, and so many sadhus from various places used to come to his palace and recite the Bhagavad Gunas. Rukmini was so interested in all this. So pashritya mukundasya rupa virya gunashriyaha grihadatihi giyamanaha tam mene sadrisham patim Rukmini was so interested in the satsangas, and she used to sit along with her father and keenly listened to whatever the sadhus said. Sri Anna says in his Rukmini Parinaya Grantha that one fine day, Narada came to the palace of Bhishmaka and he started narrating the stories of Krishna to Rukmini. He said, Rukmini, today I am going to tell you the story of a very mischievous boy. His name is Krishna, and whenever he speaks to someone, he'll just steal their hearts and gets whatever he wants accomplished. Samayaniki taku matalatane, Samayaniki taku matalatane, Samayaniki taku matalatane, Samayaniki taku matalatane, pa magariri sa 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 da da pa da sa sari ma samayaniki taku matalatane, devaki vasudevudane kincinatu samayaniki taku matalatane. This Krishna, he was born in a jail, in a prison to Devaki and Vasudeva. But when he was born, he didn't appear as a small baby. He appeared with all his 4 arms, the Shankha, Chakra, Gada, and Padma in each of his arms, the Pitambara tied around his waist, and looking at his awestruck parents, he told, Mother and Father, if you are afraid that Kamsa will kill me also, take me to Gokul, drop me in Nanda Baba's house. There is a small baby girl in his house, hand over her to Kamsa. The spellbound parents of Krishna just did whatever he told. But even after going to Gokul, this boy didn't stop his mischiefs. He used to tease the gopis all the time. Gopi jana manorata musangalekane geli uje seva adu samayaniki taku matalatane. He used to steal their butter. He used to break their pots. He used to tie 2 gopis' hairs, run away and laugh at them. He used to do all this. But none of the residents of Vrindavan or Gokul hated Krishna for all this. Krishna was so lovely and charming, and they were all mesmerized by his Leelas. So each of the residents of Gokul loved him beyond their own lives. Vanitala sada sokaje yuchunu mrukkaje se paramatmudati yugaka yashoda tanayudam sumudam munanu muddu pettanavu chundu hari samayaniki takumatanatane. Once Krishna ate mud and all his friends went and complained to Yashoda. Yashoda became very angry. She said, Krishna, how many times I have warned you not to do all this? Why are you doing all these mischiefs every time? Don't lie to me. I know you ate mud. Open your mouth. I will check for myself. Krishna somehow wanted to escape from the wrath of Yashoda. So he opened his mouth, but the next moment, Yashoda was able to see the entire universe, all the 14 lokas in the small mouth of Krishna. She was not able to believe her eyes. She was flabbergasted. And the next moment, she realized that the small boy standing in front of her is the Paramatma himself. Krishna didn't want this to happen. Yashoda was about to bow to Krishna and worship him. Krishna thought, if Yashoda also starts worshipping me, who will be there to feed me when I'm hungry? Who will chase me and beat me when I break the pots? Who will tie me up when I steal butter? So what he did, he just turned to Yashoda, blinked innocently with his big cute eyes, and showed his mandahasa, his smile, to Yashoda. The next moment, Yashoda forgot everything. She forgot the 14 lokas. She forgot Paramatma. She forgot Krishna ate mud. She just took Krishna in her arms, hugged him tightly, and kissed him. Yashoda tanayudenchu mudam munanu muddu pettanavu chundu hari samayaniki. Tyagaraja is making fun of Krishna in this song. He says, this Krishna made all the gopis worship him just to return their garments back. But see, now he doesn't want Yashoda to worship him. There is so much irony in Krishna's activities, he says funnily. But Even after 5,000 years of his birth, we all are celebrating Krishna's Janmashtami in a very grand manner. We are organizing satsangas, listening to the same stories which we know already. But even if we listen to these stories for the 100th time, it never bores us. That is the charm of Krishna's Leelas. So if this is the situation after 5,000 years, just imagine how Rukmini would have felt when she was hearing all this, when Krishna was sitting right there in Dwaraka and ruling it. She was so delighted. She was in a state of ecstasy, and she thought, I'll, if I should marry someone, that would only be Krishna and no one else. Bhishmaka was very well aware of Rukmini's love towards Krishna. So one fine day, he called all his chiefs and ministers and gathered a sabha, and he announced, respected chiefs and ministers of Vidarbha, my daughter Rukmini has attained the age of marriage, and I would like to give her hand in marriage to Dwarakadish Krishna. Everyone gathered there was so happy. They all exclaimed that this would be a divine pair, and they expressed their consent, except for one. And that one was Rukmini. Right from his childhood, he was never interested in any good things. He was always in bad company. He used to always roam with people like Jarasandha, Shishupala, Poundraka, all these people. Because of this influence, he started to yell at his father in front of all the ministers. He said, Father, have you lost your mind? How can you even think of giving our charming Rukmini to this Krishna? He's such a black and ugly boy. He was born in a jail. He was taming cattle all his childhood. He was a Gopala. He's a thief. How can you even think of giving our pretty and beautiful, talented Rukmini to this Gopala? See, I have a very good match for Rukmini. There is a king called Shishupala. He's the ruler of Chedi. He will be the best ever match for Rukmini. You are going to give Rukmini to Shishupala. He announced his decision. Bhishmaka didn't even want to argue with Rukmini because he was a very rude person and he will just do whatever he thinks. So he just signed that Rukmini and Shishupala will get married. But after getting to know all this, Rukmini's friend ran to Rukmini and said, Rukmini, a big disaster has happened. Your father was willing to get you married to Krishna, but your brother interrupted and they have decided that you will be marrying Shishupala, the king of Chedi. Rukmini was devastated. She started crying. She broke into tears and said, Krishna, all my life I have been dreaming that you will come one day and accept me as your wife and take me along with you. But all of these seem just to be a dream. How am I going to see you, Krishna? Sakshat Madana Koti Saundarya Rasa Petim Sakshat Madana Koti Saundarya Rasa Petim Sakshat Madana Koti Saundarya Vasa Petim Viksheham Kada Gopalamurtim Viksheham Kada Sarala Murali Gita Sarasa Sudha Lakari Sarala Murali Gita Sarasa Sudha Lakari Nirata Narayana Tita Nirmala Manasaham Sam Viksheham Kada Gopalamurtim Viksheham Kada Narayana Tirtha says in this composition that even the beauty of a koti manmatas are put together and made into a person, that will not equal the beauty of Krishna. Rukmini is crying, Krishna, how am I going to see that beautiful form of you? How am I going to drink the nectar of your beautiful Venu Gita? Thus she was crying. She did not know whom to send as her messenger to Krishna and explain her situation to him. And the next moment, she was able to hear a Nama Sankirtana. She ran out and saw that a sadhu was coming in the streets of her palace. She went straight to him and started washing his feet as Pada Puja. And the sadhu noticed that Rukmini was crying bitterly. He said, Rukmini, my child, what is bothering you? These tears are not suiting your beautiful face. What is your problem? Tell me. Rukmini's friend started to speak. She said, Hey Mahatman, my friend Rukmini is in deep love with Krishna and she wants to get married to him. But her parents had decided that she will be marrying Shishupala, the king of Cheti. The sadhu immediately said, Rukmini, don't worry. You are the best ever match for Krishna. You are the best match. You are like Mahalakshmi herself. I am starting right now to Dwaraka. I'll go to Krishna, tell him about your situation and bring him along with me to Vidarbha. Don't worry, Krishna will surely accept you. After hearing his assurance, Rukmini was so happy. She immediately ran inside her palace and wrote 7 shlokas describing her love for Krishna and handed it over to that sadhu. The sadhu, he must have been a Siddha Purusha. He disappeared in Vidarbha and appeared in Dwaraka. The kings, the guards of Krishna informed Krishna about the sadhu's arrival. Krishna immediately ran to the entrance and did Pada Puja of this sadhu. He washed his feet with his lotus hands and sprinkled that water on his head. Sri Anna says in his Govinda Kathamritam, Krishnam, Krishna, Shrayam, Krishnam, Krishnam, Krishna, Shrayam, Tatha, Krishnam, Krishna, Shrayam, Krishnam, Krishnam, Krishna, Shrayam, Bhaje. Each occurrence of Krishna in this shloka has a different meaning. Krishna also refers to Draupadi. It also refers to Arjuna, to Yamuna, and to Vedavyasa. Krishna also means a black complexioned boy, an attractive person, the Paramatma and the Paramananda Swarupa. Sri Anna says, I bow down to Krishna, who was the shelter for Draupadi, who guided Arjuna, who was worshipped by Yamuna, and who was praised by Vyasa. I bow down to Krishna, who is this black little boy, who is an attractive person, who attracts each and every soul in this universe, who is the Paramatma and the Paramananda Swarupa. Such great is the glory of Krishna, but all this glory didn't stop him for a moment from washing the feet of this sadhu and sprinkling that water over his head. So Krishna is teaching all of us that however great we are, or whichever great position we are in, we should always be humble and show our respect to others. That is why, till this day, Krishna is being worshipped as Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. So this Jagadguru took the sadhu inside his palace and inquired about the reason for his arrival. The sadhu said, Krishna, I have a very confidential information, a letter from the princess of Vidarbha, Rajkumari Rukmini. Krishna asked the sadhu to read that out for him. And the sadhu started reading it out just like how Rukmini herself would have read it in front of Krishna. Shrutva gunan bhuvana sundara Bhuvana Sundara Bhuvana Sundara 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 Bhuvana Sundara Bhuvana Sundara Bhuvana Sundara Sundara Shrutva Gunan Bhuvana Sundara Shrinvadam Te Nirvishya Karna Vivaraihi Harato Gataham Rupam Drisham Drishimatam Akhilatalavam Tvai Achyuta Achyuta Tvai Achyuta Vishati Chittama Patrapam Achyuta Vishati Chittama Patrapam. Such a beautiful name Rukmini is using to address Krishna. Bhuvana Sundara. Shri Anna gives a number of vyakhyanas, meanings to this one name. The most beautiful man in this entire universe is Krishna. So he is Bhuvana Sundara. The entire universe is getting its beauty from the Antaryami, who is Krishna. So he is Bhuvana Sundara. Bhuvana in Sanskrit also refers to water. Just like water, Krishna is so pure, so soothing and clear for all his devotees. So he is Bhuvana Sundara. Krishna constructed the mighty city of Dwaraka in the middle of the ocean. So he is Bhuvana Sundara. He did all his childhood plays in the banks of Yamuna. He was the ruler of Ayodhya in the banks of Sarayu. He is lying in the 1,000-headed Adisesha in the middle of Kshirabdi. So he is Bhuvana Sundara. Sri Muthuswami Dikshitar says, Hey Bhuvana Sundara, Hey Saundara Raja, you are the king of all beauties. You are the Saundara Raja. And I seek shelter in your lotus feet. Saundara Rajam Ashaya Shri Saundara Rajam Ashaya Gaja Brindavana Saranga Varadarajam Saundara Rajam Ashaya Gaja Brindavana Taranga Varadarajam Saundararajam Ashraye. Nanda Nandana Rajam Nagapatala Rajam Sundari Rama Rajam Suravinutamaki Rajam Mandasmita Mukhambujam Mandaradhara Karambujam Mandasmita Mukhambujam Mandaradhara Karambujam Nandakaranayana Sundaratara Padambujam Saundara Rajam Ashaya Gaja Brindavana Saranga Varadarajam Saundararajam Ashaya. In this Kriti, Muthuswami Dikshitar is comparing each and every anga of Krishna to a lotus. His eyes, his feet, his hands, his face, everything is similar to a lotus, so soft and tender and soothing for all his devotees. But when it comes to his enemies, Rukmini says he is like the Narasimhasura. He becomes the lion of men and destroys everyone. So Rukmini starts her letter. Hey Bhuvana Sundara, I have been listening to all your great qualities, your Sadgunas, since my childhood. Just listening to your story makes all my sorrows vanish. Your beautiful form is a treat to the eyes. Hey Achyuta, you are known to never let down whoever surrenders to you. I have chosen you as my husband and I have completely surrendered myself on your feet. But my parents have decided that I will be marrying Shishupala, the king of Cheti, and the wedding is tomorrow. But there is a custom in my family that the new bride has to go to the Devi temple, which is located in the outskirts of the city, and offer her prayers to the goddess there. Hey, Narasimha, I request you to come along with your army, crush all the mighty forces who will be gathered there, and take me along with you, just like a lion taking away its possession. And if you don't come, I will not marry this Shishupala. Even if I have to wait for 100 births, I will wait just to attain your lotus feet. Rukmini is not concluding, it's yours sincerely. She's concluding, sincerely, your Rukmini. And that is where Sharanagati lies. Krishna was very happy after seeing the Sharanagati, the complete surrender of Rukmini. He didn't wait for a moment. He immediately called his charioteer and the Ratha was already ready. Krishna and the sadhu immediately set out towards Vidarbha. Balrama understood the situation, gathered all the armies of Dwaraka, and he also started towards Vidarbha. All of them reached Vidarbha the next day. Bhishmaka welcomed Krishna and Balrama warmly to witness the grand ceremony of his daughter's marriage. Swagatam, 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 Krishna. Swagatam, 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 Krishna. Sharanagata Paripalaya, Sharanagata Paripalaya, Sharanagata Paripalaya, Karunakara Krishna, Kaustubha Bhushana, Kanakambara Krishna, Kaustubha Bhushana, Kanakambara Krishna, Kaliya Nathana, Kaliya Nathana, Kaliya Nathana, Kamala Priya Krishna, Vrindavana Sanchara Nandatmaja Krishna, Brahmadi Surapujita, Brahmadi Surapujita, Brahmadi Surapujita, Premika Krishna, Swagatam, 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 Krishna, Sharanagata Paripalaka, Sharanagata Paripalaka, Sharanagata Paripalaka, Karunakara Krishna, Swagatam, 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 Krishna. After getting to know the arrival of Krishna and Balrama, the entire city of Vidarbha, all the citizens were extremely happy. And for the entire day, the only prayer in Vidarbha was that Rukmini should marry Krishna and her marriage should not happen with Shishupala. That was their only wish. And here, Shishupala was dressed nicely, made to sit on a decorated horse and taken out for Bharat. The horse was going in the streets of Vidarbha, and suddenly he started to shiver from top to toe because he had noticed Krishna and Balrama on the way. He immediately after the Bharat was over, he ran to Jarasandha and said, Jarasandha, I'm so afraid Krishna and Balrama have come. I'm so afraid that he might carry away Rukmini. It is your duty to take care that my marriage with Rukmini happens without any obstacle. Jarasandha told. Shishupala, you calm down first. And you just keep watching. I'll take care of everything. You just keep watching and everything will be fine. Everything is going to be fine. But not for this Shishupala, for our Rukmini. But here Rukmini, she was crying in her palace. She was waiting for the arrival of either this sadhu or Krishna. But she was not able to see anyone. She didn't get any information either. So she was just crying and crying. And suddenly, she saw the sadhu coming at a distance with a very big smile in his face. She immediately ran to that sadhu, fell at his feet, and the sadhu said, Rukmini, your lord has come to Vidarbha to take you along with him. Rukmini was extremely happy. Her happiness knew no bounds. She was not able to understand what to give in return to this sadhu who brought Krishna himself to her. So she just bowed in front of him out of reverence. What else can we give to the Guru who shows us the Paramatma himself? Rukmini went inside her palace and started to get ready for the procession to Devi temple. She adorned herself with all Divya Abhushanas, divine and auspicious ornaments. She wore royal garments surrounded by her mother, her friends, so many court musicians, and a number of soldiers. She set out towards the Devi temple. A number of kings, along with their armies from kingdoms like Angadesha, Vangadesha, Kalinga, Kulinga, Gurjara, Saurashtra, so many kingdoms had arrived at the entrance of the temple along with their armies because they were anticipating a war. Since there was Krishna there, Jarasandha was there, Rukmini is here, they all were predicting a war because all of them were born enemies. So they were all ready to fight a battle. Rukmini went inside the temple. She offered her prayers to the goddess. Namasye Twambike Bhikshnam Swasantana Yutam Shivam Bhuyat Patir Me Bhagavan Krishnastadhanumodata Krishnastadhanumodata. She prayed that her marriage with Krishna should happen without any obstacle. After the pujas were over, she came out of the temple holding her friend's hand. She was walking slowly, just like a beautiful swan. Shri Anna says, Leela Lola Lola Lolamba Netri. Her eyes were rolling here and there, searching for Krishna. There were so many kings gathered there. Rukmini didn't want to see all of them. So she just adjusted a few strands of her hair and looked in that direction. And the next moment, she saw Krishna standing in his chariot. And as soon as Rukmini saw Krishna, his chariot came within the wink of an eye at the entrance of the temple. Krishna jumped out of the chariot, carried away Rukmini, mounted her in his chariot, and the Ratha flew away to Dwaraka. Tarkshatwajam daruka choditam ratham Vaishmya samagati devaki sute bhagno bhavas tatshanameva sustiro manoratascheti nripatmajasya cha. Krishna's Ratha was rapidly moving towards Dwaraka, and here, with the same speed, Shishupala's Manoratha was shattered into pieces. All the kings gathered, ran behind Krishna's chariot, but the mighty army of Dwaraka blocked all of them, and they were all defeated. They all went to Shishupala to offer him their condolences. Shishupala became very angry. He went straight to Rukmi and shouted at him. Rukmi pledged that he will not return to Vidarbha unless he defeats Krishna and brings back Rukmini. He collected all his soldiers and went in search of Krishna. A big, fierce battle happened between the Dwaraka Sena and the army of Vidarbha. Rukmi was badly defeated. Krishna tied him to the wheels of his chariot and deformed him completely. Rukmini and Balrama pacified Krishna and pleaded him to release Rukmi. Rukmi was let loose, and this trio, Krishna, Rukmini, and Balrama, reached Dwaraka. All the citizens of Dwaraka were extremely happy to see their beautiful Rukmini and their victorious Krishna. They were all extremely happy at Krishna's victory, and Rukmini Apaharana became the talk of the town for the next few days in Dwaraka. Gargacharya decided an auspicious day for the marriage of Krishna and Rukmini, and the preparations for their marriage kicked off in Dwaraka. Dwaraka Nagari Madhye Sahasrastamba Mandape Ratna Simhasanarudham Sakalatram Jagusura. All the devas had arrived at Dwaraka to witness the grand ceremony of Krishna and Rukmini's marriage. The Devashilpi Vishwakarma himself constructed a 1,000-pillared mandapa, a wedding hall for the grand occasion. All the guests were made to sit on Ratna Simhasanas. Our Rukmini and Krishna were dressed beautifully. Gopala Ratna himself was wearing Ratna-studded jewelry. Hiranmayi Lakshmi was herself wearing golden abhushanas, ornaments. Both were dressed with fine and royal garments, and both of them were made to sit in the Vivaha Mandapa. Gargacharya, the Kulaguru of Krishna, presided over all the marriage rituals, and starting from Saptapati, Lajahomam was performed. Mangalya dastu mama mangala devataya, says Adi Shankara. Krishna did Mangalya Dharanam to the Mangala Devata herself, who is Rukmini. Sri Narayana Tirtha is inviting all of us to see and enjoy the grand ceremony of Krishna and Rukmini's marriage in all our hearts. Alokaye Rukmini Kalyana Gopalam. Alokaye Rukmini Kalyana Gopalam. Neelamekha Nibhakaram Balarga Samana Chelam. Neelamekha Nibhakaram Balarga Samana Chelam. Neelambaranujam Kopabalakam Neelalakantam. Alokaye Rukmini Kalyana Gopalam. Dwarakapura Mandape Dwadashaditya Salnive. Dwarakapura Mandape Dwadashaditya Salnive. Bhuri Ratna Simhasane Bhusuragane Virasane Sukasinam Vishwamangaladayinam Dhirayogi Samsevanam Devaki Vasudevasumam. Alokaye Rukmini Kalyana Gopalam. Chandranana Bhaishmi Bhama Jambavati Satya. Chandranana Bhaishmi Bhama Jambavati Satya Vitravinda Bhadra Lakshmana Kalindi Nayakam. Nandanandanam Ashrita Vrinda Vrindaraka Valdyam. Nandanandanam Ashrita Vrinda Vrindaraka Valdyam. Nalnida Narayana Tirthanandadam Anandakandam. Alokaye Rukmini Kalyana Gopalam. Thus, the grand marriage of Krishna and Rukmini was completed, and our Gopala Ratna, along with Rukmini, was shining as Rukmini Kalyana Gopala. Rukmini Kalyanam itself is showing the Sharanagati Tattva. Rukmini represents the Jiva, and the Panchendriyas are being represented by the 5 brothers of Rukmini. Due to the influence of these Panchendriyas, the Jiva is not able to reach Krishna's feet. But if the Jiva has an infinite love and devotion towards Krishna, Krishna will send a Guru who came in the form of this sadhu. This Guru paves a way between the Lord and us Jivatmas. Guided by the Guru, the Jiva reaches Krishna and becomes one with the Paramatma. Krishna, who is Bhavati Mera Ghana Bhanu. Bhavati Mera Ghana Bhanu, the one who destroys all the darkness of Bhavasagara. that Krishna will take us out of this whirling, never-ending cycle of births and deaths and accept us all in his feet. May all of us who listen to Rukmini Kalyanam be bestowed with Guru Kripa and Bhagavad Kripa in abundance. Namo Namah Sadgurubhyah Sadgurubhyo Namo Namaha Namo Namah Sadgurubhyah Sadgurubhyo Namo Namaha Pavamana Sutudu Padu Padana Vinamulaku Nina Rupamulaku Nitya Jaya Mangalam Rajiva Nayana Rajani Vinutamaina Nina Rupamulaku Nitya Jaya Mangalam Jaya Mangalam Jaya Mangalam Adhi
Radhe Krishna, Tarunya, it was a divine delight to hear you sing the glories of Lord Shri Krishna in the episode of Rukmini Kalyanam. And not just you narrated the story and brought us the direct picturization of what happened through your beautiful narration and the singing of apt songs, may it be from Krishna Leela Tarangini of Adhyatma or from Govinda Shatakam of Shri Anna and all, but also the tattva of the Rukmini Kalyanam, that Rukmini is a Jivatma who is in trouble with the Panchendriyas, the five brothers of her, and then the Brahmana who takes a Sandesha as the Guru, the Mahatma who connects Jivatma with Paramatma Shri Krishna. The beautiful way that you brought in the story with the philosophy also involved is something wonderful and parallel. And once again, we, on behalf of Adhyatma Yoga and Advaita Academy, thank you, Kumari Tarunya, for this excellent divine presentation in the traditional art form of Harikatha, along with music and the discourse. So it's a musical discourse that we could hear from you. And thanks to the Guru, Srimati Vishakha Hari, who had brought us all the Sishyas in the Sishya series from Vijayashri School of Harikatha. My special thanks to Srimati Nirmala, who had been a great support for this whole festival. Even today, when we had a technical difficulty from the Zoom webinar, I just now got a message that it happened. At the same time, there was a crash in the Zoom platform, with which almost many people across the globe at the same time had this suffering. And even the webinar platform for Adhyatma Yoga also, when we immediately tried an alternative mechanism, it did not work. But it worked with Nirmala ji, it worked for Vijayashri School of Harikatha. That shows Krishna's grace, that he didn't want to compromise. I was thinking even maybe we would be canceling the session today because of these technicalities. But Krishna wants it, Ramakrishna wants it, so it had happened. And we are so thankful that quickly you all could adapt to the change of the link and also joined us. So once again, thank you all so much. Radhe Krishna. And we now move on to the next important session of today by Srimad Swami Shantatmananji Maharaj, who is going to speak on Shri Krishna in Sri Ramakrishna. And whenever we have